Hey everyone and welcome to another video, and today guys I'm doing something a little different. I haven't really done this on my channel before. Now, a few days ago I got asked to sub in for a collegiate level or academy level team within our region. And they needed a mid laner on a short-term notice. I ended up playing the quarterfinals with them. We qualified for the semifinals, and this was one of the semifinal matches. It was a best of three. This was actually game 3. We won the first one, lost the second one, and this was actually the deciding match. Now, I thought it'd be really interesting to VOD review it, and I actually recorded my point of view. You can actually hear the comms from all the players on my team. You can't actually hear what I said in the game because my mic must have been muted within the actual OBS, but I'll kind of fill in the gaps to talk about what I said. But my intention with this video is to really break down my thought process. What are some of the things I did well and why I did them? What are some of the things I did poorly and what I could work on as a player? And really try and review this as if I was, say, a competitive player trying to get much better at the game, or trying to go pro, or even just a clash player trying to level up my game within a competitive environment. I'm going to talk about communication, talk about drafts, or how champions interact together, talk about macro stuff, laning stuff, and really try to apply, or tie all of these practical elements back to the fundamentals that I always refer to within my videos. So I actually haven't reviewed this game yet, so it's going to be very interesting. There's probably going to be a lot of pausing. I'm going to go very, very in-depth. And I think it's a very good contrast video to the rest of my content, because a lot of the time I talk a lot of theory. Now this is just going to be straight application. So let's begin by breaking down both team compositions, how they operate, and what I thought the actual win conditions were for our team composition. So I was actually red side this game. I was playing Viktor. Now, let's start with the top lane matchup. We had Jax into Urgot. Now, I don't actually know who gets pressure when in this matchup, but my hunch heading into this game was that Urgot would probably have pressure levels 1 to 6, and especially since he went Pressy Attack and Jax went Conqueror, it's pretty, common knowledge or common sense that Urgot should probably win this in the early game, but don't hold me to that. I could be wrong. Jax just might win this matchup. I don't really know. I do know that Jax had counterpick and picked it into the Urgot, but I was very confident in my top laner. He's a very good player. He plays champions like Camille, Fiora, Jax a lot. He's very good at these, split push oriented skill matchups. So I had a lot of faith in him. But I did know that if Urgot did come to those early Dragon fights or Rift Herald fights, it could be a little problematic since their team comp does have quite a lot of burst with the Fiddle, with the set, with Cassio R, that sort of thing. So if they do get the jump on someone and get that 100-0, it could be quite problematic for us. Now there's the jungle matchup. We actually had Kha'Zix into Fiddlesticks. I don't know how this jungle matchup operates as well. My initial hunch when heading in, I'm like, surely Kha'Zix is really good into Fiddle. But the way he was talking was that that wasn't really the case. Now, in saying that, I think both of these champions have relatively weak early ganks. So I was thinking that my mid lane matchup was predominantly going to be more of like an isolated 1v1 in the early game. So you'll see how that reflected in the way I manage my early waves. Now, in saying that, the other thing about this matchup, when I see any burst-oriented jungle matchup, whether it's Kha'Zix, you see champions like Kha'Zix, what's another burst jungler? Evelyn, things like that. Whoever gets the jump on the enemy champion generally wins. So if Kha'Zix, for some reason, has vision on the Fiddle, or catches him in the jungle, or catches him out of position, then it most likely will be very good for the Kha'Zix. Whereas conversely, if the Fiddle gets the jump onto the Kha'Zix, then it will be very good for the Fiddle. That's the way I like to view these very burst-oriented junglers. Now for the mid lane matchup. Now, I actually had counterpicked this game, and I picked Viktor into Cassiopeia. I really like this matchup personally because it feels like Viktor just severely outranges Cassio at all stages of the game. I definitely will have pressure in this matchup basically whenever I want at all stages of the entire laning phase. Yes, Cassio has better side laning than me, but the main reason I actually picked Viktor this game is that Viktor's actually very good into this entire composition. Kind of outside of Fiddle, but Fiddle is one of those champions I should be able to deal with anyway. So Viktor is very good into very low range linear champions. Aphelios, Cassiopeia, Urgot. All of these champions are very easy for Viktor to deal with, and I have a lot of threat on all of these champions. Especially when it comes to those objective fights. Cassio is not going to get anywhere near. She's going to have to always rely on her flash, And if she doesn't have Flash, then it's going to be very problematic for her. Aphelios, I severely outrange, and Urgot as well, I can just absolutely shred through. Now, I actually really liked our composition in terms of our win condition, because we had an Ezreal, and we had a Viktor, we had a Thresh, very non-committal champions, versus linear, low forms of engage outside of Fiddle. And yes, they have Set, but as long as we have eyes on Set and Fiddle, I feel like there's a very obvious win condition there in terms of how we should navigate fights. But if our AD carry gets behind in this composition, then it is going to be problematic, because I can't side lane. Then what will happen? Aphelios and Set will get river control, hover the Cassio. Cassio will have freedom to push me out of the side lane. Then we're never going to be able to get a favorable 5v5 fight or play around our Jax side. But if we come into mid game ahead, then it's very good, because then they're like, okay, what do we do? How do we engage on these guys? We're going to have no vision control. Fiddle's going to be seen at all times, and then it's going to be incredibly easy for Jax to, split up a Storm, basically, in this game. Then the bot matchup, we had Ez Thresh into Aphelios Set. Again, I don't really know how that matchup goes. It seems a little bit tricky. I think Set seems quite good into Thresh, but I could be wrong there. I'm not 100% sure. But it does seem like they outrange, or Ezreal at least outranges, and they get a free farm as well. And if we can kind of play around Ezreal's power spikes, the Muramana and Iceborne, I think we have a very obvious win condition in terms of just how we operate in mid game and outranging our opponents. So, also quickly touching on the runes that I ended up opting in for. Now, in this matchup, because it's so favorable, I have two options. Now, this is the way I like to view mid lane, I guess, as an overarching philosophy. So if I'm in a favorable matchup, I can either go all in on my my favorable trading patterns and really abuse my early strength with going something like Scorch, Comet with Time Warp Tonic Biscuits, and go for early Dark Seal bases, make it become very oppressive, and force Cassio to take very subpar bases in the early game. Now, the reason I didn't opt in for that is because there's a few reasons. We had a Kha'Zix, and I don't think he could actually utilize that pressure or utilize that kill threat that I could potentially generate onto this Cassio. And on top of that, it was game 3, high pressure, high stakes, and I didn't really feel confident in our macro as a team, so I'm like, alright, screw it. I'm just going to sit back, relax, scale, and kind of play for mid to late game, which, to be honest, isn't the mentality you should be having in these sorts of matches. But because I've only played with this team like 5 or 6 times or whatever, that was just the reality of the situation. So I decided to go for the scaling approach, where I can use my early strength, or my early, I guess, my favorable matchup to get a free scale, take a very greedy room page. So I went Phase Rush, which is actually very good into this linear team composition. I went Gathering Storm as well over Scorch, and then I went Magical Footwear and Futures Market. Very scaling, pretty much no lane strength. If I wanted more lane strength, I'll go something like Biscuits. But I just decided I'm just going to go full scaling, screw it, and play very, I guess, safe or conservatively in this last game. Now, there's two last things I need to clarify before we get into the specifics of the laning phase. The first one is, one of the biggest reasons I actually somewhat enjoyed our composition was because we had Viktor, Ezreal, and Thresh, which is very non-committal, high range, semi-high mobility because of Thresh Lantern, Ezreal E, that sort of thing, with a split pushing champion. So, the onus is on the enemy to engage onto us in order to get things done, right? So there's either two things that the enemy can do. They either need to start objectives and force us to group and force us to take the 5v5, which could be a little problematic for us if Fiddle gets set up in a really solid position. Or they need to hard engage onto us while Jax is in the split push in order to get something happening before Jax can actually just start shredding towers in the side lane. So I felt quite confident because we have high range or semi good disengage to actually stall out this game for the Jax. So that's actually one of the biggest reasons why I actually liked our composition kind of outside the Kha'Zix. And the second point was that Cassio actually went Conqueror. Now, I actually really disagree with Cassio's rune choice. I think this is a game where he, whatever, needs to go Phase Rush, because I don't really feel like Cassio's going to get much use out of Conqueror in this game. We're a very high-range team composition. We have barely any front line. The fights aren't going to be played that fast or fast enough for Cassio to actually utilize the Conqueror, in my opinion. Yes, she gets access to Presence of Mind, that sort of thing, but I think that it's going to be really hard, or by the time it actually becomes useful, I don't think mana is going to be a problem for her anyway. And yes, it does have synergy with Archangels and things like that, but I'm just not a fan. I don't think it's worth it. I mean, although maybe she wanted to go Presence of Mind to have access to Legend Tenacity, because we have something like it, we have Jax and Thresh, I guess. But just not worth it. I think the mobility for her, especially versus our comp, is so important. So I was very happy, or very... I view that as actually just a small win in my books anyway. So let's dive into the first wave, guys. So in this VOD review, I probably will be drinking a lot of water. I got my water here because my room is 1 trillion degrees right now. So I'm actually simultaneously having a sauna while doing a VOD review, which is a 2-in-1. But yeah, that's kind of why I need to drink a lot of water. I'm sweating my balls off right now. Alright, so level 1, whenever I'm in a favorable matchup, I personally like to get the minion advantage and do this sort of thing, where I posture very aggressively. I know if I can get my first minion of the game before the enemy, I can begin to posture aggressively and make the enemy make a choice between her getting the first minion or taking a Q auto to the face. So now you can kind of see there I'm like posturing very aggressively, and I was able to deny Cassio ACS. Now, a few things you're going to note in terms of just straight laning or trading fundamentals. I'm always constantly playing around my Q cooldown. When my Q is up, you'll see me posture quite aggressively, constantly trying to make Cassio make a choice between the minion or taking a Q order to the face. Conversely, you'll see me try and, I guess, ration out my resources around my mana flow cooldown. I try not to use my E whenever my mana flow is actually down, otherwise I'm going to be going Now, in terms of my mini game that I want to achieve this game, because I actually have Futures Market, I believe it's only 1,000 gold I need to actually get, or base on to get my Hex Core. But I do like to base on a little bit more than that, so I can also get a pink or refillable if need be. So my minigame, I need at least 1,000 gold within this lane, because Futures Market will allow me to get my Hex Core off that. So I need to be careful with the way I actually ration out my mana, and ideally if I'm basing any time before that, then it's going to be a little bit problematic for me.
This guy pulls the wave every time and then orders me, and it's like, what's the point of pulling in the first place?
So that's sort of calm, guys. I just want to quickly talk about that. I won't talk about it for the rest of the video, but I personally, whenever you're playing Clash with your teammates and that sort of thing, you can view those comms in 2 ways. You can view it, one, it's a lighthearted joke or funny thing to say to boost the morale of your team, whatever. But for me personally, I just don't like that bullshit. I just think it's like distracting. I think comms should only be things that actively, like information that we need to know. I don't care what Urgot's doing. If we need to know the wave state, then comm the wave state, but I don't need to hear that. I think it's just a waste of, just distraction for no reason. Now, this kind of confused me here. How come Cassio, and I want you guys to look at this, how come Cassio, he must have got XP level 1 somehow. I don't know how he got XP level 1, but he gets level 2 of this creep, when it's usually the first creep of the second wave. So I was confused here how... I was expecting to have a level 2 advantage over this Cassio because I knew I was going to get my 7th creep before Cassio, but she ended up getting level 2 off the first wave. So that kind of caught me off guard a little bit there.
I'm ready. Just don't hit. Don't hit. Wait.
Don't need to.
So I'm taking pretty good trades here. I'm abusing my range advantage, playing around my mana flow band. Now you'll see, and if you've watched my warding video, I always try to ward at around 2 minutes 30. That's my go-to warding window. Now I knew that in terms of pathing, I mean, I actually didn't know where... I wasn't actually aware, funny enough, of where Fiddle started, but my default response was to ward topside. For some reason, I actually thought Fiddle started bot side. That's something I probably should have clarified within this game, and I think the reason I didn't know where Fiddle started is because I was thinking so hard about how I was going to play the matchup, what the win conditions were, how I wanted to actually play the first few waves. And then also I knew that Kha'Zix wanted to play for bot scuttle. So anyway, regardless, I just wanted to use my ward at around this time. Either I could have used it either deep onto the Raptors or bot side here, which probably would have made a little bit more sense. But given that in the game, I thought that Fiddle was doing a bot to top clear, which probably doesn't even make sense given Fiddle needs blue buff. I just put a ward on the in the dot bush here at around 2:30 because junglers can start to begin to be active at around 2 minutes 40.
That wasn't him, was it?
So taking some good trades here.
Fiddle can gank you mid from bot. Fiddle
So-
can gank you mid from bot side, so be careful.
So now I'm getting that information from my jungler, which is really, really nice. I'm just hovering topside towards my ward. Now, I think in this moment I realized, okay, I actually screwed up with my ward, and I definitely should have put my ward on bot side, because Fiddle, I'm assuming, done like top to bot clear. Now, it's actually interesting in terms of the way I actually could have played this wave. I just want to quickly talk about how I could have played this wave. So I didn't fully crush that wave when I went for that,
That wasn't him, was it?
when I went for that ward. Now, in this position, what's actually going to happen? I have a few choices. It's nearing, as we know, Scuttles spawn at 3:15. So I, in this position, have to make a decision. Do I want to let Cassio actually push out a little bit here and potentially set up a gank as Cassio is trying to fully shove out the wave, knowing that, you know, my Kha'Zix is probably going to be heading into bot river soon? Or do I want to maintain priority and keep the pressure onto this Cassio, in which our chances of potentially double scuttling are quite high? So this is where you need to be very cognizant of what your jungler's strengths are and what your jungler's game plan is in the early game. If I wanted to set up kill threat, I would not touch the wave here. I would actually just last hit, use only my abilities onto the Cassio, and let Cassio actually push out a bit, which would be a very good strategy, I would say 80% of the time. But because this was a very niche situation, we weren't playing for ganks mid and we was playing for prio, I actually end up using my abilities on the wave as well as Cassio. So that's what I try to do. I don't want to only use my abilities on the wave because that's kind of low value. So what I try to do is use my E on the melees here and Cassio at the same time.
Fiddle can gank you mid from bot. Fiddle can gank you mid from bot side, so be careful.
Now, I know that Fiddle has very low gank threat onto me, so I'm very fine playing the wave like I am now. This is a very greedy, or I guess low... It is a bit of a weird way to play mid lane. This very, I guess, early priority style, because this actually makes it harder for me to get good trades onto Cassio. It comes at a cost, right? And I just want to quickly riff on this a little bit. There's always a trade-off in terms of strengths and weaknesses, in terms of how you play the wave. If the wave is out here, I have way more... I feel like I have a lot more options to actually harass the Cassio. But because she's quite safe sitting under this tower, and there's only so far I can actually position up in the lane, she gets a little bit of freedom here. So I am actively thinking about this. I'm actively thinking, well, cool. Cassio gets a little bit of reprieve here. She's a little bit safer. But I'm maintaining a lot of priority, making it very, I guess, much easier for my Kha'Zix to get things done. And especially since we have a Thresh who wants river control, I think this does make a lot of sense with how we want to play the early game.
We have bot pro. Really hard.
So now I was thinking, okay, Cassio's trying to shove the wave out. She's actually got a minion advantage. I know it's heading towards 315. So I remember here, I was actively thinking, I need to thin the wave here.
Probably gonna go for top scuttle then, most likely.
Yeah, I want to cheat.
Which wave? Because I got DMAP.
Not yet.
So notice how now I'm starting to hover bot side a little bit more and posture up here aggressively because I see my Kha'Zix in bot river.
Tell me when you want me to DMAP.
And this is a massive learning objective for you guys at home, is to is always, like, the more aware you are of your jungler's location, the more you can optimize the way you play out your lane. If I am not aware of my jungler's location, then how do I know where to lean, where to ward, how I need to play the wave, that sort of thing? And especially when you're playing Clash, you need to have a lot of awareness of what your jungler is doing all the time.
Might have cheated.
And notice how I actually put 2 points E, not W, by the way, before I even put a point on my W, because I have no use for my W. I'd way rather the poke damage. Now, this is what I was talking about before. This is actually a much better lane state if I don't want to play for priority. Now, I think at this point I decided, okay, Kha'Zix is not going to go for the double scuttle. She's just going to go for the bot scuttle here. And Fiddle was going to be topside. So now I'm kind of just holding the wave and just chilling. Now, this is why holding the wave around this portion of the lane is much better for me. Because Cassio now is very scared, or makes it a lot harder for Cassio to walk deep to get this wave out. So I can actually posture aggressively in line with my wave and constantly try and either zone or look for poke onto this Cassio and abuse my range advantage. You see there, again, timing my E with the CS.
If you want to try and get it back as soon as you have TL.
Yeah.
So that actually did come at a cost, this trade before. This is actually what I want to look at. Okay, this is actually a mistake in my opinion. I should not E these range creeps. I actually should not touch these creeps at all. Because look what happens. The wave's in a really good spot. I should actually hold it here, leave it here. The longer here, the better, because I'm actually not at my gold amount that I want to base on yet. My jungler's recalling. I actually don't want to shove out. If I shove out now, it can be a little bit problematic, because my ward's actually dying. Yes, I have another ward coming up in 25 seconds, but I ideally don't really want to be doing anything on the map right now. And holding the wave in this position and denying Cassio CS, she actually has also used 2 pots, which is a really good sign as well, and I still got 2 pots, so I've actually got, in terms of gold value, 100 gold up onto this Cassio at the moment. This was a mistake from me. So look at that. Now that actually changes the lane. That actually now means my wave's actually going to shove into the Cassio.
Try and get it back as soon as you have TL.
Yeah.
Fiddle top. Oh, we scout like crazy guys, so
Yeah. When do you have enough, James?
Bad E, man. Why did I do that E?
When do you have enough, James?
Oh, well, that's such a bad E, dude. I think that's just an autopilot E. There's no context to that E. It hits the wave, it's bad, it's not timing it with the CS, it's just a terrible E. Now, I'm in a bit of a sticky situation right now, because I actually have no information about Fiddle or where he is. Majority of the time, junglers will be back onto their bot side around 5-ish minutes. Now, it's 4 minutes. Either Fiddle's staying on the map for a longer period of time, and going to help Cassio get a recall or something like that. Or maybe even Fiddle's done some weird clear, gone for an early boot base or something like that, and it's actually staying on the map for even longer. I don't know. I actually have zero information about Fiddle right now. We haven't seen him at all. A little bit scared, and my wave's actually pushing out to the Cassio. But the only downside of this, and I was very aware, was that I knew my Kha'Zix was topside on Krugs and looking for to hover topside for some reason. Now, if I'm in a situation where I feel extremely threatened and I am either too scared to ward or my wave's really screwed and I need the jungle to hover me to get the wave out, I should have communicated this. If I needed that, then I would have communicated that all the way back here. As soon as I knew off that one E, I think it was this E here, right? This E. Now, after this E, and I start to see my wave actually push out to the Cassiopeia, now I have to be actively thinking, okay, do I actually need my Kha'Zix to hover me to get the wave out? If I'm versing something with a lot more early gank threat, maybe something like a Jarvan or something like that, then maybe that is something I need to consider. Or I need to ask my jungle, or ask for more information. Where's the Jarvan? Where could he be? Where do I, like, so I can actually dictate where I need to use this ward in 18 seconds. Now, if you find yourself in these situations where you do need your jungler, if I'm in review, I would go back and pinpoint the exact moment that actually screwed the lane up so that I had to ask for my jungler. Because I, as a mid laner, my philosophy is to be as low. I don't want to be a burden on my team. I want to be a complement to my jungler. I don't want to force my jungler to do things for me. I don't want to force him to say, oh, skip your camps, come help mid. I don't want to do that. I want my jungler to be as efficient as possible, and I want him to help everyone else but me. I have a favorable matchup. I don't want to rely on him to get things done. So that's my mindset anyway. So fast forwarding.
Nice, it's good for us. I can hard push this wave too.
Yep.
Lane's going decent for me. I'm nearing my amount of gold that I need to base on for my Hex Core.
Lantern.
But I did know that Casio had no pots.
And I might go, I'll go Shane.
So I saw Casio pull the wave here, and I knew that most likely Fiddle would only be... Like, if I would have topside, I would have a side to lean onto. It shouldn't be too bad for me.
Really? Aren't we just playing a scout?
Gonna look up here.
So I ward there. This gives me a pretty decent side to lean onto.
We can't recall now.
No, I can't.
Yeah, we can't. Yes.
And now I just start to lean to my vision here to get the wave out.
I'm not looking top max.
My wave's a bit doomed.
How much gold do you need for...
Now, right now, I should have actually recalled. Right now, I should have recalled. Okay, my thought process here was this. I'll play it out first, and then we'll go back over it.
Need
Do we ever stay in lane for both?
It's doable.
Yeah,
I don't think
it doesn't
you
matter
should.
right now why. So,
I need a TP back as well.
I think it's. I'm just gonna clear.
Yeah, it's good to
Okay, so here, my thought process was... So this actually ended up being pretty bad for me in the sense that I had no tempo onto this Kha'Zix, sorry, this Casio, then I had to recall and TP myself. The reason I stayed here and didn't insta-recall was because I thought, for some reason, in my head, I thought I had enough mana to, because I knew that Casio had to recall herself, buy her items, regenerate her resources, then come back and TP. So my thought process was, okay, for some reason I thought I had enough mana to get the wave out, because I actually saw that it wasn't a cannon. I knew that the next wave wasn't a cannon wave. So I thought I could actually get the wave out and create a TP advantage situation. So to notice how there, I actually panned my camera on the wave. Look at this.
How much gold do you need for both tier and thing?
So I pan my camera here, right? And I see that this is no cannon. So I thought to myself, okay, well, Casio's catching the wave now. Maybe I can actually stay. And because I have a Doran's Ring, I have decent amount of mana regen, I can actually either wave and actually get this wave out, because I actually have one attack speed one attack speed shard in my runes as well. I thought I could get this wave out, force Casio to TP, and actually hold my TP myself and create a TP advantage. So I tried to create a little bit of a small lead here. But what I didn't realize is that my E cost more mana than I thought, and I couldn't get the wave out. So then when I tried to get the wave out here, it took too long, and then Casio just TP'd back, so then I just had to match TP myself. So this was a bit of a risky play, a bit of a misplay from me, and something that I would definitely review.
Doesn't matter
So then I just back up and then recall myself.
Nice, James. Go on.
Cast is either freezing mid, looking bot. Yeah, okay. Can you use?
Do you want me to...
So now, the situation was, okay, Casio did the right thing. She pulled the wave and had a bit of a freeze here. But because I have vision topside, I know most likely Fiddle now is bot side. I feel quite confident in me just hovering heavy onto topside and just safely getting the wave out with my E. If I did not feel safe to do this, then I would call my jungle here to help me get this wave out. But because I'm playing Viktor, I have a significant range advantage. I have vision on my top side. I felt very confident being able to get this wave out myself.
Eventually to get. I just want a ward on Drake, but do it.
So Casio's able to get a really good trade onto me here because of this wave state. Now this is exactly what Casio wants. What Casio was actually able to do in that wave was she was able to, in that moment where she had tempo, she come back onto the lane. She used her tempo with that little brief moment where I was in base to go out of vision here, ward the bot side, most likely pink the dot bush, and then hold the wave here. So now, simultaneously, there's two things that now Casio is able to do. She knows that she's in an isolated 1v1, so she can walk up and trade aggressively, and she has plenty of room down this long lane to take a really nice trade. So, well played to Casio here. This was just, I guess, the punishment or the response for me taking that really poor, making that really poor decision in that, just before with the TP in the wave state.
Do you want me to hard push bot?
Eventually
So she hits the Q there as well.
I just want a ward on Drake, but do it safely because Fiddle could be down.
So the trade ended up being not too bad for me because she took a full combo to the face and she took all the minion damage, so it wasn't actually too bad for me. And now I know my wave's in a decent spot now,
Yeah.
so I'm just chilling.
Once he messed up so much.
I don't think that E was the right move here. Right now, after Casio did that, I should recognize that the wave is actually pushing out to me. Or it's going to be slow pushing out to me. I should not be hitting this wave right now. Now, in the moment, I didn't know, I wasn't aware that my bot lane and my jungle were actually going to be recalling here. I had no idea. Which is actually either inexperience from me or not listening to my teammates or them not calming. That's something that I would probably have to go back in review and listen to with my jungler. Or maybe just my inexperience as a competitive player because I'm not confident in myself as a competitive player. I'm having to put so much mental energy towards my 1v1 right now and just think about my trading patterns, and also now knowing that Cassio's actually got level 6 before me here, knowing that she could actually flash ult me. So that's why I was playing very, very defensively here. If I knew that they were recalling, I would not have started autoing this wave. I would have not touched this wave. I would have, again, relaxed, let the wave come out a little bit, hold it in the middle, wait for my jungle to come back onto the map. I don't have... It's not my time to make a play. Kha'Zix's very low. Fiddle is probably in the river here. They actually have river control. And like I said before, if Fiddle gets the jump onto the Kha'Zix, they win anyway. So I need to just respect here. I should not be touching this wave. This is another mistake. So you notice how the only reason I touch this wave is because I'm not aware of my jungler's... I'm not aware of what he is doing, when he's recalling, or anything. So again, this actually ties to my learning objective as a mid laner, and what I am currently focusing on as a mid laner in solo queue is constantly being aware of what my jungler is doing. It's less about what Fiddle is, or what Fiddle's doing, or any of that. It's more about, if I know where my jungler is and what he's doing, then I'm fine, because then I can adapt my wave management, I can adapt the way where I put wards, I can play my lane appropriately.
Yeah. What? He messed up so much.
Look at that. What does that do? What does that E do? Now it holds the wave in a bad spot when my whole team's recalling. I have no vision on bot side. I'm so scared. This is not good for me at all.
Maybe.
Does mid have flash? Does mid have flash? Okay.
I'm level 6 off the 3 calms top, and then I just want to...
So notice how here I actually adapt the way, because now I actually see Cassio posturing aggressively, and because I know Cassio has so much room, she has vision, my team's recalling, it is not my time to do anything. I am respecting a lot. I'm sitting very, very far back, and I'm adapting to how she's posturing. She's been playing defensive this entire lane, like right now, and then you'll see randomly she starts to posture aggressively. So I'm using my intuition to think, okay, what's going on here? Is she looking for a flash ult? And guys, this is fascinating. I had already identified this in the loading screen or in my matchup that the only way I die is if Cassio has to, and I even said this at the start, is if Cassio uses flash ult onto me or flash W. She has to use flash to generate kill threat. And this is why I love this matchup so much, because if she doesn't have flash and she fails that, then I have complete control over the lane or complete control over the game. So I know, and I'm consciously thinking, if Cassio flashes onto me, then I'm very threatened. So I'm always respecting that flash ult range or that flash miasma range.
I'm level 6 off the 3 calms top, and then I just want to... I'm not looking right now. I need to look after I'm 6, doing top camps.
Nice.
Okay, this is very interesting. Let's go back here. So one other thing here that if I were to play with this team long term, I would want way more information from my team about what we're looking to do. Because right now, it feels like we're just playing to survive. We're not playing to set up anything. I want to hear information from my jungler saying, when is he looking to do dragon? When are we looking, like, what are we actually looking to do this game? Yes, I have priority, but I still need to time my bases or have an idea about what side I need to ward. What objective are we playing for? Are we looking for a lane swap? Are we looking for a top dive? What side do you want me to control? I have none of this information. And yes, I didn't know if we were looking to contest this dragon. I had no idea. I didn't know any of this information. Yes, in hindsight, it's probably a little bit obvious that Curtis, you can only play topside. We're not going to dive an Urgot. We're only going to be playing for the Infernal Dragon. But it is something that, for me anyway, because, I mean, I guess I just haven't played much competitive. I'm not just, like, fast enough. That information would have been helpful for me personally.
I'm level 6 off the 3 calms top, and then I just want to...
Now, this pink was a very desperation pink, and the reason I did this pink in the moment was because I just wanted to make sure I could lean here, and I hate doing this pink in general, but it was just a desperation ward. I had no vision, I had no trinket, I just needed something. I just felt a little bit safer there with that ward, and because I didn't have time to go and actually ward the dot brush, well, for two reasons. It's not my time to ward because my jungler's not on the map and I don't know where Fiddle is, and secondly, my wave's actually pushing into the Cassio. And this is all a result of me screwing up the wave location. Notice how this is all back on me. This is poor wave management, keeping, not managing the wave. The wave was pushing out to me, but I actually gave it back to the Cassio.
Off turn 6. Clearing top dance.
So they go for a play, and we trade flash for flash, and Fiddle shows on the map right now.
Yep.
Very, very big. Very, very big. Now, this is huge for the game state. Not only have I got Cassio's flash, which is literally, it's way more important on Cassio than it is on me. Now, she has basically never has kill threat on me. She's extremely threatened by Kha'Zix, and Fiddle showed on the map and used Predator. So this gives information to everyone on the map where Fiddle is, what he's doing, and everything. Huge bit of information here. And this is all because of my solid leaning.
Just let it happen, man. It's fine. Chill. Yeah, that's fine too.
Do we ever kill this guy?
That's...
How close are you to 6, Will?
That's missing.
And I actually tried to walk up there to stop Cassio's base. So I actually stopped Cassio's base as well. So I have a lot of tempo.
Yeah, I'm here.
So
I'm here.
Oh, we can't go for this play. This is not good. Anyway. So I know that Cassio has to base. I've got Cassio's flash. I flash as well, but my flash doesn't really mean as much. Because now I should have a lot of vision control. I ult the wave, and then I recall. So now I'm up 16 CS. I'm up quite a bit of XP because they shared XP for that wave as well, 2 waves as well. I timed mid-flash, and now I'm in a very, very good spot.
Fiddle's on his blue.
Because I don't have a ward.
Yeah.
Oops.
What's happening? Where's the Urgot?
I think he's in this bush.
So I end up selling my pot for refillable and a dark steel and a pink. Now, my thought process right now was that I just wanted to push and control objectives. Either right now we should be playing for Dragon because we have bot push, or we should be playing for Rift Herald on spawn.
Yeah.
Stop.
I don't know why Kha'Zix right now just doesn't go to Dragon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I wanna gank it.
We are destroying them bot.
Yep.
Right now, like, I'm pretty disappointed in my team not calling the next play. I mean, I can't actually remember what I was talking about, but I did call. I remember I did call. Right now, I was telling my team I can basically get pressure whenever you want. I want objectives. I did say something. I want objectives.
God, that's so bad.
Okay, look at that. Bang, bang. Urgot shows here. So what does this mean? It means that their team is looking for a team fight. They want to contest 5v5 on this dragon. They know Cassio has a little bit of move here, a little bit of tempo, but I don't miss any farm anyway, so it's all good. So they're looking to force. So our response in this situation, because Urgot is very desperate, Urgot needs to use his early skirmish and early team fighting strength to get something done. So this is actually a really smart move from the enemy team to just Urgot to literally run straight to the dragon, because if they control the vision first, we can never face check. Because remember, if they have the jump on us, then we just lose, because they can burst one target with Fiddle ult into Urgot ult into Cassio Miasma. They just die. Like they can burst us, and because we're a relatively squishy team, we don't really have many champions that can actually face check as well. And Kha'Zix just doesn't, and Jax don't want a straight front to back 5v5. So it's actually a really good move from the Urgot there.
Yeah, the Urgot's walking down.
Guys, careful, back up.
And I think that just shows their experience as a team. They're very aware of their team comp's identity and what they need to get done.
I think they're just walking down for
I'm gonna get Herald off this, alright?
So we decide to just trade, and we get Herald here.
we can play to like
And this is the downside of playing a champion like Jax. Like, yes, Jax scales. Yes, Jax can win trades. But it's like when you play, for example, Renekton into something like a GP or something, right? Yes, the GP can like match pressure or whatever, but if there's a straight 5v5 brawl at an early dragon at 7 or 8 minutes, the Renekton or the Urgot, that's where they're really, really strong. And it's great for stacking dragons, because they just want that straight 5v5 team fight.
not let them run.
So, as a result, I decide to hard shove mid, knowing that there's no point holding the mid wave. I know they're all on bot side. If I shove and hover top side, we should easily secure this Rift Herald.
Careful mid, careful
Do you
mid.
have an ult? Drag?
They're swapping, their bot lane's gonna go top.
It's too late, right?
Yeah, we just ult wave bot and then they can't.
On the hold right now, guys.
So notice how I'm just heavy. I was looking for an E there, but he wasn't really giving it to me, so I'm just heavy hovering top
Might
side.
be really slow. I might need help here because they're swapping.
I'm recalling.
And notice how I don't actually help the Kazakhs here. I need to maintain shove on mid. Maintaining shove on mid basically makes it impossible for Cassio. And if I heavy lean here and always get the wave, it's going to make it impossible for Cassio to get into the river. So I've got the ward here to help spot them out if we see them walk into river. I'm always going to get first move into river, and I'm going to make it very, very difficult for Cassio to have any access onto the river as well.
Their bot lane's going top. So. Do you want me top?
And notice here, look at this. This is the first time, basically, where I've actually used E on the wave and not onto the Cassio as well, because I know how important it is to get priority in this instance.
We've got 2 plates top.
I got it in like 5 seconds.
Do you want me to go top?
So Jack's actually got 2 plates.
Wait,
You
why?
guys go top, you guys go top, you guys go top. 'Cause
Next
you guys can get
objective
this
is drag.
tower. You
Okay.
guys get this tower for sure.
So one thing about this team, I mean, I hadn't played many games with them, but one thing that I did notice when playing with this team is that our bot lane was very indecisive about how they actually, like, wanted to play the game. Like, when I play with a team, what I want from an AD carry and support is I want a very decisive support and AD carry that are always thinking about the next move and telling and always updating the team. When are they strong? What do they need? What are the laners? Like, I want that information from my support, and not really my AD carry, more my support. I want them to take control of the game. But it always felt like information was coming from my top laner. Like, my top laner telling the team what he wants, and then our AD carry and support adapting or revolving around him, which I don't think is a healthy dynamic, because at the end of the day, the AD carry and support, they have much more influence on a game than a top laner. So this didn't really sit well with me, but I just went with it. I know we couldn't really make any changes in this team in a short period of time. So now I actually get a nice little trade here, nice little E, and I stay in the range for the actual plate. So I'm in a very good spot right now. I'm trying to pause. So I'm around 10 CS up, quite a lot of XP. I'm scaling very nicely. We've got the Rift Herald. Top actually broke 2 plates as when Urgot actually went for that roam. You know, we're getting towards our spikes. Everything's looking really good.
What are the sums on the Vilios and set?
Oh, they have all.
Now, what you're going to see now is probably one of the game... I'm not going to say the game-losing play, but the play that actually significantly sets us behind. So, what I'm going to do is actually play it out, and then we'll go back and talk about why this play was made and how I, as a coach, how I would recommend approaching it. So notice how here as well, I'm always trying to push and hover where my team is. If my team is looking for a play, I don't want to hold the wave mid. This is where, because, okay, the way it works, if my jungle was just clearing here, I wouldn't just keep shoving, because there's no point. I know that it's better for me to potentially take better trades onto the Cassio, exert pressure in a different way rather than just constantly shoving. Constantly shoving comes at a cost. If I constantly shove, Cassio just gets away with this hard matchup. So either I'm going to be pushing the wave, not interacting with the Cassio, exerting my threat on the map, hope or potentially in aim for a skirmish, which I thought this is what was going to happen, because it looks like I knew that Kazakhs was looking for a gank onto this AD carry and support, and I knew that they wanted to rift top, so I knew that potentially if Fiddle's around here, I could make it a 3v4, because I know that Cassio did not have TP yet, so that was my thought process. But if I knew they weren't looking for a play here, and Kazakhs was just going to full clear bot, recall, get his warriors, and do something else, then I wouldn't just have hard shove that wave.
TP on us, by the way.
I got no teleport.
And I tell them that Cassio has no TP as well.
Okay, never mind. Just let us push.
Can you? Oh, okay.
And notice as well, I only hover until the next wave crashes. And as soon as the next wave's there, I need to be there as it spawns.
You can use flash on Aphelios if possible.
So now I'm just really putting the herd onto this Cassio right now.
Pull him up. Yeah, look
Okay,
at pop.
okay.
Yeah.
Get a 6 top.
He can't do that into Aphelios.
It's fine. Fine.
So basically what happened here is that they set up that lane gank. They didn't take into account that Aphelios had perfect guns. They didn't take into account that they couldn't actually 100-0 the Aphelios. I think he actually had bow sums as well. Now, there's a few things that we need to riff off here to really break down why this play didn't work, what we should have done otherwise, and what I would really talk about if I were the coach of this team. Now, first thing that we need to assess, power spikes. Ezreal was actually, I believe, sitting on a Sheen and a Tier. The Kazakhs actually had, he didn't actually have warriors yet. He actually had the jungle item, skirmisher saber or whatever, and he actually had double, I believe he actually had double longsword. And the Aphelios actually had a BF sword. So Aphelios wasn't too weak. Now, there's a few things here that we need to really break down. The first one is why this play was made. I think the first thing we need to talk about is that they thought that this was a 100-0 kill. I don't know who made the call or maybe they all thought it was a kill. I don't know. This just seems weird to me because at least one of these players should have known that this play won't work. Whether it was the Kazakhs, knowing that he did not want to make this play because his camps are all up, he has gold for his warriors, we have basically control in every single lane, so we don't even need to force the usage of the Rift Herald because, and as well, we have what, like 5 minutes or 4 minutes to even use the Rift Herald before plates disappear. Like, we have so many options. We don't need to force this play. Now, either Kazakhs in this situation knows that this is a bad play, but he's just compensating because someone else made the call. Or Kazakhs did make the call thinking that they could actually one-shot the Aphelios and wasn't actually sure of Set and Aphelios' strength or understood how the guns work or understood how good the self-peel was a Set, in which Ezreal or Thresh should have called off the play. Now, you generally see this a lot in amateur teams or people with not much experience because their default response in competitive games is to blindly follow the call of someone else, even if they know it's bad, because they think that they're missing information, which a lot of the time isn't the case. So, this is why I don't believe in singular shot callers. This is why I believe every single person needs to step up to the plate. And this is also why a lot of the time, the best solo queue players make the best competitive players because they know if this was solo queue, that would not work, right? That wouldn't work. It doesn't matter. Like, you just know basic from solo queue that play will not work. How are you going to burst someone pre-warrior Kazakhs, no power spike Ezreal through a Set and Aphelios with perfect guns with bow summoners? It's just not going to work. We don't know where Fiddlesticks is. It's just not the play that we need to force. Now, there's another thread that we need to pull on here as well, which is why are we forcing in the first place? We're not playing off our power spikes, there's that, but I don't even think this is the best way to use Rift Herald in the first place. Think about all of the things you can do with Rift Herald if you have control over the lane. Okay, if we go back, if we play this back a little bit, in this situation here, essentially. Well, Ezreal and Thresh actually have pressure over the Set and the Aphelios, especially because we have top river control. I have push off every wave if need be. We can get D-Vision. We can do a lot of different things. If your team is ahead with Rift Herald, what does that mean? It basically means you can drag or pull the enemy around the map, force them to take inefficient bases to try and follow you, because they want to match you, so you can't just break a tower from full HP. It's very rare. You ideally, if possible, want to avoid using the Rift Herald in a lane where they're already there, unless we've already set up vision deep on this side, know that Fiddlesticks is not on this side of the map, and I'm hard pressuring, and then this Aphelios and Set have to back all the way to the tier 2, and they give us full access to this tower. So, in this situation, what we should do, in my opinion, is we've got this Rift Herald, Dragon's not up, relax. We will ideally want to use this Rift topside because it only has 3 plates. What we should do is let Kazakhs full clear or do his clear, buy his warriors, whatever. I actually then don't shove out waves. I actually hold the wave in the middle, continuously take really good trades onto this Cassio, and as well, actually probably even get one more wave, recall as well, time my recall with the Kazakhs because I get my next Hex core. Then, me and Kazakhs together, even Thresh, we walk up, we get deeper vision on this top side, we threaten, we make sure Fiddle's not here, and then with that control, and with that threat, we can actually get a free tower. Knowing that Fiddle can't gank, I can be there to back them up. Cassio cannot follow. Cassio's TP is not going to be up for like, what, 2.5 minutes anyway. So we have plenty of time to make this play. Or Ezreal and Thresh use my pressure, my hover, to get a really slow builder wave out topside. Insta recall with Kha'Zix time, with Kha'Zix recall as well. We all go back onto bot side. We swap our vision back onto bot side to set up for the dragon and this bot tower, which probably would be the better play in my opinion, and which Jack should stay top. And then we just play like that, because then we'd get bot tower, and then around that time the next dragon would be coming up anyway, and it would probably be a really decent play. It's basically a guaranteed play, and the reason being why we'd be able to get control is because they would have tempo, a lot of tempo over this Aphelios in this set, and they need to base and match the Ezreal and Thresh because we're the ones with Rift Herald. They don't want to trade sides of the map and split the map because they can't beat us in a race. In terms of turret plates. So that, in my opinion, would be the play, and that has to come should have come from any of those three players. It should come from the Kha'Zix, knowing he's not spiked and he has a lot of gold. It should come from the Ezreal and the Thresh, knowing that they have tempo and full control and not spiked yet. It should come from any of them. And this, I think, shows a lack of competitive experience, which is fine. These are all amateur players. They haven't played competitive for long, but there's a lot of room for improvement. And I guess it shows our sloppiness as a team, because we've only played, I've played with this team like 5 or 6 times. It makes a lot of sense why this decision was made. But anyway, very big mistake, and it's actually game losing, because we're literally making a play on our power trough, which gets them to their power spikes. Kha'Zix gets behind, and if Kha'Zix gets behind as a champion, he's completely useless, and then it turns into a bit of a shit show. But anyway, this happens. Let's fast forward a bit here.
You can't do that into Aphelios.
Fine. I got missing. Careful mid maybe.
So I'm in a really good spot here, though. I'm just dominating mid so hard.
Latin.
So I was going to recall here, and I believe I was just trying to recall. What was I going to do? Okay, I remember actively thinking here. My TP is coming up in around like a minute 30. I don't have enough gold yet, I believe. Did I not have enough gold for my Hector? Let's actually see what I did. Oh no, he stays.
I'm gonna full clear bot to gain pot. I want to use Rift Herald.
What do I do? I believe I stay, because I really wanted enough gold for my 3rd hex core, so I stay for the next wave, and I panned my camera to see if it was a cannon as well. And I knew that the tempo that Cassio would get onto me wouldn't really mean much, because I'm going to get the wave in instantly anyway.
I'm missing CS for this.
The only downside of this is that I don't time my my recall with my team, which makes it a little bit awkward. This is a very greedy or solo queue-esque play from me. But the reason I thought like this is because my team's now losing. I need to be strong. I need to be greedy. I don't care about my team at this point anymore. I need to be as strong as possible.
He did, right? He did.
He didn't. Oh,
He did.
yeah, he did. True. After.
So I think I get blue here.
Oh,
What's up?
Go back mid. I think I get one more wave. Do I recall here? What do I do? Oh yeah, move my pink onto bot side and then I just recall.
this whole man.
So I was very confused about what we were going to play for here. I had no idea.
Back here? They might swap back here. Yeah, they're swapping back.
You can get Herald top. And
Yeah,
get
use Herald
three.
top, use Herald top, use Herald
We don't
top.
have much time. We have to do it quick there.
We're so reactive. Our team is so reactive. Like, there's no comms about what the enemy's doing, where they're going, what we're playing for. Like, like, I'm Viktor. I can't actually make many proactive calls. Like, I have pressure, but I can't do much. I mean, I am just I'm getting pressure for my team to do things. Like, I'm not I can't proactively set up ganks, set up dives. I need my team to tell me what they want.
What's that? The Cassio's top 2. Cassio just did thing.
Back here? They might swap back here. Yeah, they're swapping back.
You can get Herald top. And
Yeah,
get
use Herald
three.
top, use Herald top, use Herald
We don't
top.
have much time. We have to do it quick there.
Can you walk? Can you hold bot? Can you walk bot? Is there a chance?
Can you just
Because
throw
This whole entire series of events is fascinating. This is very, very fascinating. Hear this out.
can you walk? Can you hold bot? Can you walk bot? Is there a chance?
So my top laner was telling me to hold bot because he thinks he can hold mid way, like he can't hold bot, but he thinks I could hold bot better than him. But I don't think this is what we should be doing anyway. I think what we should be doing now. Okay, let's watch it first and then we'll go back.
Can you just
Because
throw this
I
way,
can't
just
do
so we
anything
stand
against these
now?
guys.
I'm gonna ult the next wave actually.
Just be careful walking through there. I can do more against Cassie than I can against these two. Yeah, nice. Okay, just be careful of Fiddlesticks. We want to swap for this. Guys, we want to be in position for that.
Recalling now. I have Mirror Mana spike.
You're gonna get dove bot, 4 people probably. Teleporting?
Nice. Nice.
Set's just dead.
I'm
I'm
coming.
dead though. I got a shutdown.
I'm here.
They have no ults at all.
I'm running straight down bot.
Cassie
Oh.
flashed in.
I'm on my way,
Just
guys.
land.
I'll be there in
No ults,
20.
no ults. Dodge her poison.
Play slow. Does Fiddle have ulti?
Nice. These Ogre teleport.
We can win this, we can win this.
Ogre teleport.
Alright, let's break this down. There's a few things here we need to talk about. Very common situation in competitive play, where the team that has Rift Herald, the enemy decides to like leave it or whatever, and this is what we call a split map in competitive play, where your whole team's making a play top side, their AD carry, their strong side is on the opposite side of the map, because strong side is generally the side that your jungler's playing on, right? So our jungler and our team, in terms of just raw members, we have more members top side, whereas their AD carries bot, their top laner shows top, so most likely there's a bit of a split map scenario where we're going to be getting top tower and they're going to be getting bot tower, which is very common. Now, in this situation, if the top laner can't thin the wave and will get dived, a lot of the time they should actually farm jungle camps in the meantime, wait for that wave to come out, and then like come back and catch the wave. Or you can actually decide to defend with maybe 1 or 2 members, hoping that you can't get dived. And usually this happens though with members that don't have the TP. So for example, like an 80 carry or something, also the top laner goes here and then I have TP, and then if they dive, I TP and defend. But the call from Jackson this point in this situation was that he wanted me to go bot because I can thin the wave really fast, and he's fine against Cassio because Cassio's not really strong yet, and we can actually hold both sides. So we can actually get bot tower and defend bot, so they get nothing. That's what Jax actually wanted to do in this situation. Now, I went and followed this call because I actually didn't mind the call. I was quite happy with it because I knew that we had a bit of vision here. I knew Aphelios is a very low range AD carry, and I knew that Cassio is not really a move and dive champion, so she would struggle with that. And I kind of thought that I could, just really one-shot the wave, and I have flash, and I have phase rush. So in this situation, I get this wave,
Can you just
Because
throw it this
I
way,
can't
just
do
so we
anything
stand
against
now?
these guys.
and then I decided to go
Ult the
bot.
Next wave actually.
Just be careful walking through there.
And fast forward,
Yeah, nice. Okay,
I
just be
put
careful of Fiddlesticks.
I put the pink here.
Guys,
So I put the pink here as my form of defense. Now, one really bad, I guess, one thing that I did not assess was that the strength of Fiddle ult. I think if they played it better, they could have easily dove me, even without minions, because the Fiddle, the Set can tank the tower. I believe Set even has stopwatch. Actually, I think Fiddle even has stopwatch. I actually can't defend this tower. Now, this is inexperience for me versus Fiddlesticks, and this is actually an incorrect play. And it's very easy for me to say in hindsight, like reviewing this, saying, Curtis, what a dumb play. Why did you think you could defend it? But I was tunneling in on, okay, if I get the wave instantly, I've got a ward here. I can just back off if I see them come. But they were really quick. They must have either saw me walking through here or maybe preempted that I was going bot because Jack showed mid here and I didn't show on the wave. So they thought, wait, Victor's going bot, we can dive when he comes. So they were very quick on that transition, and then I got punished. Now, if I was, I guess, yeah, more experienced, I'd done more scrims, and I was respecting the pace of the game a little bit more, because usually this pace of the game isn't seen in solo queue. People are much slower in solo queue because this sort of macro play isn't seen. So I thought I could get the way freely and just back up, and then my bot lane would be recalling, coming back on the map, and my jungle being able to defend me. If I knew and was, I guess, more aware of the pace of the game and understood that, you know, they could do this really, really fast, and this was never going to work, I would stay mid. Jack should farm jungle camps. They should instantly base, swap. Jack should actually go top or something, even get Raptors, and then go top. Ezreal go bot. They get 1 or 2 plates bot. We accept reality, and then we begin to take control of bot river here and play for dragon setup.
Recalling now. I have mirror minus spike.
You're gonna get dove bot.
But look at this.
Probably.
We still could have I played this pretty well here. I walked this way so he would take me out. Then I flash back knowing that Fiddle's going to ult that way. So right now, if Jax does not go into this play and wait for our team rather than going in, we actually win this really easily, in my opinion. We could easily stall.
Nice. Nice.
So that's just dead.
But Jax just runs in.
I'm dead.
And the reason Jax runs in here is because he's actually not aware of his distance. He's not aware that his jungler's all the way on red. He's not aware of where all the team, all the members are right now. And what this should, as a teammate watching this scenario, especially the Kazakhs, he should be giving information, telling the Jax, play slow, 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 Fiddle's there, slow, stall, stall. He should be giving information to the Jax to stall. And because no one really gave information and helped the Jax, I guess, obviously he should have known, but that's a very key form of communication. Saying slow, stall, and then wait. Like no one said that, so Jax just went in, and then just kind of entered.
I'm gonna shut down.
But anyway, and then Cassio does a really good play and flashes on me here, and now the game starts to get kind of out of control.
I'll be there in
No ult,
20.
no ult. Dodge her poison.
Play slow. Does Fiddle have ulti?
Nice. Days Ogre teleport.
We can win this, we can win this.
Ogre teleport.
I need to get the L car.
And now the game's kind of boom, because now they get dragons, they're stacking dragons. We didn't really get much value with the Rift Herald. Jax is now, I mean, died. He gets a shutdown, but I'm behind. Cassio gets back into the game, stacking up that presence of mind. But more importantly, it's just like Kazakhs is really screwed. Now, Fiddle gets really far ahead. Fiddle's extremely powerful now. Aphelios is not going to be phased with the Ezreal spike, because the way Ezreal versus Aphelios works is Ezreal spikes earlier and can get a lot of done with his cheap 2 item spike, because Ezreal actually has one of the cheapest 2 item spikes in the game with Muramana and Iceborne. Whereas Aphelios actually needs like 2 completed items, or 2, even 3 completed items to actually out damage or out, I guess, impact a champion like Ezreal. But what happens if Ezreal gets behind and his spike gets delayed, and then he's kind of on par in terms of damage with Ezreal, then Aphelios just completely outscales. And now, what happens when Fiddle's really far ahead, we can never really get river control. Cassio's going to go into the side lane. Because Kazakhs is behind, he's going to have less threat onto this Cassio. Then it's going to turn into a bit of a clown show. It's really hard at this point onwards. So I TP back thinking I could maybe poke them off, but it was a bit of a bad TP here.
Next fight till I have heal. I need a more reset.
We need a call if we can't fight on items.
I had mirror minus spike. This was an okay fight. It's just went a bit weird.
So right now, my thought process is I'm just going to shove out
Reset. They want to look from this.
shove out sides. I know that they have no tempo because they just recalled, so I have a bit of time to get farm and plates here.
But I need a reset.
We need vision. I don't have any pinks at the moment. Let's just wait. TP bot, yeah.
So I say here, Cassio TP bot, we can Rift Herald here. So I pushed out bot, Cassio TP bot for some reason. I'm actually still pretty far ahead of this Cassio. I'm like 30 CS up, or 25 CS up.
I'm resetting.
So then I now group with the team, because I don't want to sit in the side lane. I still want to play with my team here. And then especially when Cassio TP's bot, I know Rift Herald's coming up, so I call for Rift Herald.
Can we look?
Yeah.
Just be careful on midway.
Oh, maybe?
Just be careful on midway.
Oh,
Oh, there's vision.
But no, answering bot. I just have to go bot.
I'm gonna start the rift.
does Castle TP though?
No, no.
I don't think Ezreal should go bot here. I think Ezreal should just accept reality and just
This
respect.
is good. Stay mid. Yeah.
Because right now we're trading sides of the map right now. Like we're getting rift held, they're getting bot tower, they're not contesting. We should just respect.
She
They
gets
can
the
still
tower.
contest
I might
this
just
with
freeze
the
bot.
fiddle. Perhaps.
Yeah,
No,
freezing bot.
We have
can
a
do
lot
well.
of vision. We're chilling.
I'm gonna freeze bot.
We want to use this hero to break mid.
Careful you get dirt by fiddle 6.
And then Ezreal just gets so far behind now. He's just so
I'm gonna
screwed.
use it mid right now. So.
So what should have happened here? Ezreal actually should have called me to go bots.
TP though. If she
No.
Or he should have actually called me to go bot and actually defend. Or he should have just literally respected. Because he should know that Fiddle is not on top side. They're giving Rift Hell. We're trading sides of the map.
She
They
gets
can
the
still
tower. I
contest
might
this
just
with
freeze
the
bot.
fiddle. Perhaps.
So Ezreal gets dive top, bot sorry, we get Rift Held, blah blah blah. Fast forwarding a little bit, we swap the lane assignments, I let Ezreal go mid.
Scary.
Now the game gets quite sketchy because now we don't really get control, like they get control 3v3. So now I'm just kind of catching waves in the side lane.
Yeah, we have.
He's top side.
And I don't really know the win condition anymore. I don't know. Because Fiddle's too far ahead. Jax's spike's kind of limited a little bit. Ezreal's kind of useless now.
Kill him. There's Zonya's.
Kha'Zix is really useless. I don't know how to win. In my mind, and now Cassier's actually quite strong on the side lane. Fiddle, then now they have full top river control, and this is where Viktor becomes really bad. Victor's really bad from behind in this situation where I can't walk up, I can't use my E aggressively, I can't match that pressure, and then it's just super hard for me.
I'm gonna go crab.
And I end up going for the Ludens build on Viktor this game because they were like I was relatively just going to be playing for poke with my E and just abuse my range advantage. If there were a lower range composition in which I would like if I'm going to be in close quarter combat, and not really relying on my E, then I would go something like a Lichbane or something. Or if I was facing a lot of heavy frontline, then I would probably go Leandre's or something. But since it's so squishy in terms of these three core members, their jungle's a squishy champion, mid and AD carry. I don't need Leandre's. I don't want to go Void. So Ludens is, in my opinion, the best purchase here.
Yeah.
So now I'm just chilling in the side lane. Not really much I can do here. Waiting for an objective to spawn. So then I end up catching that wave.
Do you want to help spies? Vengeance?
97 seconds.
Alright. Curtis should walk down after that wave.
They just reset. Oh, set did update.
So right now, just going here, I just group mid. Okay, now this is where the game kind of explodes. So what happened, I was thinking, all right, well, this is our only time to get back into the game. We're going to rift mid, we're going to break mid, and we're going to fight for this dragon. This is the only way we can potentially get back into the game because I'm still strong. Yes, we're behind, but if we can maybe get this dragon and stall out the game a little bit longer, then there may be opportunities for Jax to split, for Jax to take over this game.
I think it's fine stopping his base there. He hasn't
We
reset.
just use Herald mid.
Yeah, use it now.
I'm using it. Can you right side off? Perhaps?
Nah.
I need vision
Their
here.
Felix hasn't backed.
Vision here. Careful. Fiddle somewhere.
And then there's the game. So I want to break down this play. So I was actively thinking here that Fiddle ult was the main threatening source on me. It was no one else. It wasn't Cassio. Aphelios was strong, but again, I outrange Aphelios. Urgot's very linear, very easy to deal with. I know the only person I need to be careful of is Fiddle. Now, in saying that, what happens here, I go mid.
Felix hasn't backed.
Vision here.
Thresh wards over the wall here, right? So look at that happen. I see that, and I see no one. I see this, so I see no one. So I'm like, all right, cool. Fiddle's not in position yet, so I can actually go up and actually break the overheal shield here with my E and let the Rift Herald get the hit, and then we're going to go for the dragon here. But what happens, and this is actually something I learned off this game specifically, you'll see as soon as... what I thought Vision faded. I thought if this ward, like you'll see in a second, look how it like fades. I thought it still kind of gave vision of that area, but it got disabled straight away because of a pink ward. And as soon as that X forms on the ward, there's zero vision. So instantly, as soon as that ward got disabled, Fiddle must have instantly walked there and channeled ultimate. So in that split second window where I thought I had vision, where I can get that E and break that overheal shield and get that Rift Herald proc, I thought that I could get the E and then I just die and I get one shot. So this actually really caught me off guard because I did not think that Fiddle would be in position. I saw that there was no one there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I can quickly get an E off.
Careful, careful.
And the threat range is insane, man. And then we get changed to seed. We die. They get the dragon. They've got now 3 dragons. They're incredibly far ahead. And there's basically no way we win this game. Then the game's just basically over. We just don't have a win condition anymore. So, I'm going to leave that there. This is probably where I'd actually leave the VOD if I were playing with a competitive team as well. All those little details later, I don't think that's really important. I think that's predominantly the game. Now, the biggest takeaways for me, this was a really interesting experience for me as a player because I hadn't played competitive in so long. I don't even play Clash very often. I played it like once. And it really, I was a pro player back in the day. It's been a very long time since I've been able to play. So it was a fun experience. I would love to do it again, just as like a passion thing. And for me, the biggest takeaway is it really exploited my weakness of, I would say my biggest weakness is awareness of my jungle. There were times where I wasn't really aware of what my jungle was doing. So there was situations where I could have optimized my wave location. I think my understanding of the matchup was good. I think my understanding of just how to win the game was okay. But I think I could have been more proactive in my calls about how we should use Rift Herald because I think that these guys were a lot of amateur players, so they needed my help in terms of how to use the Rift Herald, which is, I guess, my fault as well. And also, I actually have a big weakness. I mean, I did not respect Fiddle's threat this game in terms of tower dives and stuff. So that's actually another thing. I hadn't versed much Fiddlesticks, so I actually got... that's actually another thing as well. I did not expect the threat coming out of the Fiddle. So I think overall, pretty proud of my team, what we did, given that we literally just played for the first time. These guys would most likely scrim all the time. We went 1-2. We could have won this. I think if I was played with this team a little bit more, we could have easily won this game. But yeah, hopefully you guys got a bit of value from this VOD review, guys. A bit of insight into what I think about when I'm going through these VODs. And I think the biggest takeaway, again, is I need to increase my jungle awareness as a player. Jungle awareness is so incredibly important. Not the enemy jungle, my jungle. My jungle's awareness. If I know what he's doing at all times, I can be able to more effectively manage my wave state, make different sorts of plays, that sort of thing. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to see more things like this, whether it's me playing Clash or things like that, just let me know. And yeah, cheers guys. Thanks for watching.